Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new to the channel, welcome. Hope you enjoy the entertainment. Anyway, WrestleMania 42 has come and gone. It's officially in the books, night 1, night 2. So, I said I was going to do a video talking about the matches in the event and what stood out, what didn't work, and what was a shambles. I think we can pretty much class all of night 1 as a shambles. It had a few good moments, but overall it was fucking terrible. Uh, Led by the, as I said, the absolute circus main event. Uh, Night 2 absolutely killed it, blew it out of the water. Uh, awesome matches. We got some shocks on night 2, and we got an awesome main event. I mean, the difference between the main event with Punk and Roman versus the main event with Orton and Cody was night and day. Awesome match. Um, but I had to say, Jesus, the amount of ad breaks on this event was terrible. Every match was followed by ad breaks, and I don't know what it was in like the States and everything, but for us in Europe and everywhere else, it's just every fucking ad break they were plugging the Hulk Hogan documentary. I felt like I watched the whole damn thing. Like every segment was just more of the documentary, Hulk Hogan talking about um his first match at Madison Square Garden, and then the match with Andre, and then the NWO thing. It's just, oh dear God, I felt like it was basically, I felt like I was watching the Hulk Hogan documentary with a few matches, squeezed in between. But it was fucking terrible. Like, I don't, having the ad breaks on PLEs is bad enough, or pay per views, especially likes of, I know Saturday Night's main event, they're horrendous for it. But WrestleMania, geez, you think even for WrestleMania they could just have a ad free night, or at least wait until halfway through the show and put in a few ad breaks, you know to give people a breath between the events. But fuck, it was terrible. So I'm gonna go through the matches and what I thought of them. Um, Another thing quickly that I didn't like was, especially night 1, was the length of time that the matches went. I mean, I, I wasn't timing them, but I would venture to say none of them went longer than about 8 minutes. Bar, I think, the main event, and that's just fucking woeful. Especially after all the build up. Liv versus Stephanie Fakur, it it felt like it was the shortest match on the card. I mean, I'll go Wikipedia open here. Does it give you? It actually does. Holy shit! All right, well, so let me just go through I'll actually talk about the times during the matches. So let me get into night 1. So night 1, we kicked off with the Usos and LA Knight versus the Vision and ISO Speed. This match went 7 minutes 8 seconds. Okay, fair enough. It's the opening match, and you've got the celebrity appearance of ISO Speed. It's just an exhibition to kick off the show, give Speed his moment. It doesn't need to go be a long match. Thought this was an alright match. As I thought, the Usos, LA Knight, and Logan Paul and Austin Theory did most of the work. Uh, Whenever Speed got tagged in, he got a few shots in. Did a great head scissors. Uh, but then, obviously, the main spot came at the end of the match. Uh, Speed accidentally knocked Logan Paul off the ring apron, and then Austin Theory was shouting at him. He tried to get Speed to do a double team with him, hit him with the ropes. LA Knight threw Austin Theory into Speed, and then dropped Austin Theory with his finishing move and pinned him. After the match, Logan Paul got angry with Speed, knocked him down with his titanium, knockout punch, and then started clearing off the announce table at ringside and was setting Speed up for basically to do his dive off the top rope to knock thing. Luckily for Speed, the Usos and LA Knight came back. The Usos hit Logan with their 3D move that the Dudleys did. I think they called the 1D. And then they basically swapped Logan Paul with Speed and put Logan Paul on the table, and then basically they helped Speed into the ring and told him to go up the top rope and get his moment. So this was a good moment. He did a great dive off the top rope through the announce table. It was a great moment for him. Crowd popped, and then it finished with Speed in the ring with Usos and LA Knight yeeting and then leaving. So that was alright. It was a good start off to the show. And well done the LA Knight, or not, well done the LA Knight getting the win. I had the Vision winning this match in my prediction, so I'm glad that LA Knight got the victory. And well done Speed for getting his WrestleMania moment. So next up, we had the unsanctioned match. I use the air quotes figuratively, between Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. It was alright. It had a few moments in the match, but realistically, it was nothing that you could look at and say, oh, well, that's why it had to be an unsanctioned match. I mean, this could have easily been a SmackDown main event, no disqualification, because the only, the highest it got was Jacob pulling out a red toolbox similar to the one that was used in the Hell in a Cell match between Punk and Drew. Drew ended up using one of the tools from the toolbox to hit Jacob in the head. There was no handcuffs used. There was no big spots. They weren't fighting through the crowd or anything, or fighting up the ramp. There was a few table spots. Jacob got knocked off the top rope and flipped through the table. The match ended with Drew getting placed on the table and Jacob hitting his moonsault through Drew through the table to pick up the win. But I was expecting more from an unsanctioned match where it was built, the build up through it all. We had, as I said in my predictions, we had car crashes, we had Drew dragging Jacob through the broken windscreen. we had them, fighting and knock each other off the ledge of a wall. We had Drew handcuff Jacob to the ring post. So, this was supposed to be built up as, Nick Aldis said it, that, this is going to be unsanctioned because WWE match officials and, the WWE personnel, they do not want to be held liable for any of the atrocities that happened in this match. And it just felt very tame. There wasn't even a bit of blood. Now, there was a few things online saying that because this match was on the the ESPN 1 hour free, they couldn't overdo it with the violence or have any blood or anything. But why the hell did you have it on that at that point? Then you could have kept it for later in the show. But it was all right, but due to the build up, it could have been better. This match probably went one of the longest in the show. It was 14 minutes 9 seconds. Jacob obviously beat Drew, as I said. So next up we had the women's tag team match for the tag titles. Obviously there was a lot of speculation. Were the Bellas going to compete? Was Nikki cleared to compete? She said that she was going to compete, and we were waiting for that. So there are 3 teams come out, and the Bellas come out dressed to compete, but Nikki's still wearing her medical boot and she's walking out with a crutch, and she's got a microphone, and I do feel sorry for her because she was a bit emotional speaking to the crowd and all. She was telling them that she was looking forward to this moment, and she tried her hardest to get cleared, but the medical staffer wouldn't let her go, so she was not able to compete at WrestleMania, and simply because instead of going with a triple threat tag team match, she didn't want to ruin Bree's moment returning for WrestleMania, so she made a call to an old friend. Now, this return got a pop, but I think it would have been an even louder pop if it hadn't been spoiled on social media, because was it the night before? Was it Friday night or early into Saturday morning? It had been announced or revealed or leaked that WWE had re-signed Paige. So it was heavily speculated that Paige would be involved at Mania and most likely be involved in this match if Nikki Bella couldn't compete. So obviously, as soon as Nikki Bella said that she made a call to an old friend, you knew it was Paige coming out. Paige comes out, looked great. She's made a return. I thought it was awesome that we got Paige and AJ Lee wrestling on the same night. In fact, even AJ and Becky's match followed this. This was a decent match. This one actually went 8 minutes 33 seconds. 8 minutes for a fatal 4-way women's match. The women's matches really got hung out to dry at WrestleMania because they got the shortest matches of the match card. But 8 minutes 33 seconds for 4 tag teams, especially including Paige's return. Paige spent most of the match on the ring apron, and then when she finally did get tagged in, that was basically the build up to the end of the match. She got tagged in, uh, got a few forearms on, I think it was Lash Legend, and then the ring got cleared, and it was left with her and Charlotte. That was a good moment. Obviously, they've had their battles and they've had their history on NXT, and then their call up uh, to the main roster. It was actually, Paige was the reason that the likes of Charlotte and Becky Lynch and all got called up, because at the time I think she was feuding with the Bella Twins. And that's how that all got started then, that Charlotte and Becky Lynch got called up and joined her to form Team PCB. And then Sasha Banks, obviously, she got called up as well, and she aligned with Naomi and Tamina to form Team Bad. And then obviously you had team, the Bella Twins. And I think who was with them was Alicia Fox. So that was a good moment to have Paige and Charlotte in the ring. Obviously the match ended with Nikki pulled Charlotte out of the ring and attacked her with her crutch. At the same time, Alexa Bliss was going to hit her finisher, the Twisted Bliss, but she got distracted by what was happening to Charlotte. So the delay, whenever she hit her move, then Paige was able to counter, hit her finisher, and pin Alexa to win the tag titles with Brie. Now, I'm going to be very honest. Absolutely love Paige. I'm very happy to see her back in the WWE. But I do find it very surprising that they had her and Brie win this match. Like, I had predicted Bailey and Lyra to win in my predictions video, and I would have stuck with them. I would have had Bailey and Lyra win the match. You've already had Paige have her moment where she's made a return in WrestleMania. I don't think you needed to have her win the tag titles as well, especially with Brie Bella. I find it very strange that they've wasted the opportunity to have Brie and Nikki win the tag titles. Because even at some point, if Paige and Brie drop the titles, or something else happens, the Bellas end up turning heel and turn on Paige. If they ever eventually do win the tag titles, yes, it's a good moment for them, but it's lost that moment of Brie and Nikki becoming tag champions, because Brie has already won the title now with Paige. So, and I would have liked, if they were going to have Paige win the tag titles, I would have held off and had her and AJ Lee win the tag titles, because they have teamed in the past and they've got that that history and friendship and enemies and everything. So I'm curious to see where they go with it, but I would have had Bailey and Lyra win this match, and you still have the pop from Paige returning and competing at WrestleMania, but we'll see where they go. As I said, this was followed by Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. This match went 8 minutes 15 seconds. I say 8 minutes 33 seconds for the women's tag team fatal 4-way. 8 minutes 15 seconds for the the feud between Becky and AJ Lee. Unfortunately, every match was goddamn shortened because they were too busy trying to fit in more and more ad breaks and more bloody plugs of Hulk Hogan's documentary. Um, this was a good match. There was a lot of commotion around this match because of the entrance. Becky Lynch got a live performance entrance from the Wonder Years singing her entrance song. Although it looked like it was lip synced because the singer, when the music started, he sort of missed his cue and was out of sync with the song. But it's a great song, and so I'm not gonna say anything about it. Maybe he blew his throat out or something or whatever, just thing. But I loved all just immediately on like Twitter. Everything is saying, what the fuck, is not even a live performance, he's lip syncing, he's missed his cue. AJ Lee's entrance was very good. They had her with a group of girls from different ages. They were all like skipping out to the ramp, and then followed AJ Lee skipping down to the ring, skipping around the ring, and then obviously departing. I said on Twitter they missed an opportunity to have Becky Lynch's daughter come out with AJ, because part of the build up for this feud has been Becky saying that one thing she hates is that her daughter's favorite wrestler isn't her, it's AJ Lee, and AJ Lee has even winded Becky up saying about I am your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, and I'm even your daughter's favorite wrestler. So I felt like it would have been such a brilliant moment to have AJ come out skipping with Becky's daughter, and just the reaction of Becky's face to see that, it would have been hilarious. But this was a decent match. They obviously went back and forth. They built up the side feud between Becky and the referee Jessica Carr, because obviously she's always been officiating Becky's matches where she's lost, or she's either got tired of Becky shouting at her and she's counted her out quickly, or she's counted too fast, and also they kept this going during the match where Becky was constantly in her face and all, and then it got into a shoving match where Becky almost got pinned down because she went to attack Jessica. Jessica moved, and AJ hit her with a move and tried to pin her. This ended with a bit of shenanigans from Becky. She removed the turnbuckle in the corner. She had tried to do it earlier in the match. The referee stopped her. This time she removed it. She pulled the referee in front of her when AJ tried to do a running attack into the corner. Referee was distracted. She grabbed AJ, smacked her head off the exposed turnbuckle, hit her with her finishing move, pinned her 1, 2, 3. Becky's new champion, which I predicted, and I felt it was the right plan because obviously Becky is on TV more. She's competing more weeks, so it makes sense to have her with the title. We did get online, we did get a sort of emotional post-match interview with AJ Lee where she was talking about before last time. She never got to say goodbye properly, so she doesn't know what the future holds. But for now, that this isn't goodbye, but it's we'll see you maybe at someday. So I'm hoping that AJ isn't gone for good, but for now maybe she's going to take a break and uh, she'll maybe be back around SummerSlam or for whenever they do the King and Queen of the Ring. That would be awesome to see her competing in that. Good match. Could have been longer. As I said, the women's matches here really suffered with the lack of time. And I think that the reason for that was just so TKO or whoever was ESPN could plug more and more bloody ad breaks. As I say, I think overall, I think Hulk Hogan had more screen time in WrestleMania 42 than everyone competing on the match card. Ridiculous. Next match was Gunther versus Seth Rollins. This match went 17 minutes 52 seconds. I said in my preview that this match reminded me of WrestleMania 17 with Undertaker versus Triple H, where you have two top stars who don't have matches or stories for WrestleMania. They throw something together at the last minute and you have them go out there and put on a hell of a match. This was the same. They went out there and even before the bell rang, they went at it. They were beating the hell out of each other. We finally got the bell rang and it was back and forth. Gunther tried to submit Seth with his sleeper hold. Seth even got the sleeper on Gunther, tried to make him submit. It was back and forth. It finished up with Gunther getting knocked out of the ring, Seth hitting a few dives through the ropes, and then dragging him onto the announce table, and then running from one announce table to the other and stomping Gunther's head on the announce table. This drew the referee to, go and check with Gunther. So he was completely distracted because Gunther was on the floor unconscious. Seth goes for a braver. He's like leaning against the security barrier. Next thing, camera shoots the ramp and fucking Roadrunner, Braun Breaker just comes flying past and spears Seth into the security wall. I don't know if whether it was supposed to be that or maybe Seth was supposed to move out from the wall so he could get a proper spear. But it worked out. Obviously, everyone speculated that Braun was going to show up because he had been medically cleared, but they obviously didn't want to push for having him compete. So they did a spot where he comes in, spears Seth, throws him into the ring. He's walking up the ramp. Seth starts to, come to. He's looking at Braun on the ramp. Next minute, Gunther shows up, puts him in the sleeper hold, and Seth passes out. Gunther gets the win. He doesn't win clean. Seth doesn't lose clean to Gunther. And that's what we expected. That's what I had predicted. And it worked out well. It was a great match. Probably one of the best matches of the weekend. After the match, Seth is outside the ring. He's hurting. He's semi-conscious. He's trying to, get his wits about him. Braun Breaker is like 3 quarters away up the ramp, and he just, like if you see like a race, like Usain Bolt or fucking something, it's a race, and it's like 1, 2, 3, go. Like he just straight down the ramp, and he definitely, when he hit Seth with a second spear, he definitely held back because the speed he was going. If he had hit Seth fully with a spear, he'd have fucking put him right through the fuck into the ring side apron. So he like sort of, half like jumped to catch Seth, and Seth got taken out. Fucking crowd was diabolical. Like Braun was walking back up, and the crowd were chanting one more time while Seth's on the ground, fucking in double in pain, trying to catch a breath. And even Braun stopped, and he's like, and the crowd's chanting, one more time, one more time. But then Paul Heyman standing at the top of the thing, so he went to Paul then, and it was a good spot, and I guess we're building up towards Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins at Backlash. Does well. As I said, I think this worked out better. Yes, you could have done, if they were both cleared and had proper build, you could have done Seth versus Braun. But I think this worked out better for both Gunther and Seth, that they had a hell of a match, and then you build up with Braun Breaker costing Seth the match. So it worked out well. Next match, I'm just looking at the time here. This is fucking ridiculous. Next match was Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Fakir. Now, I said in my predictions that this could have and even should have been the main event of night one because of how well it was built up over the weeks. These two went back and forth with their promos, with getting physical. They beat the hell out of each other. They built up a great story of hatred and literally wanting to kill each other in the ring. This match for the Women's World Championship, this match went 6 minutes 51 seconds. That is embarrassing. That is fucking embarrassing for a match that well built, and for Liv Morgan and Stephanie Fakir to get 6 minutes 51 seconds at WrestleMania because you're too busy plugging fucking ad break after ad break and plugging the Hulk Hogan documentary. I don't know what they had in the States. They might have just had a still screen of we'll be back soon, or app commercial break in progress. But that's fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry, but that's bullshit. If I was Liv Morgan, Stephanie Fakir, and we were building up that match at Mania, and you're going to tell them, all right, good luck, ladies, by the way, you've got over just 6 minutes. In front of 50,000 people, you got over 6 minutes. That's fucking embarrassing. That should have at least been 10 minutes. At least. For the build-up. For what it's worth, it was a good match. They went at it. Stephanie hit her devil's kiss. The crowd imitated Booker with shouting along. Liv tried to hit the Devil's Kiss. The crowd got a big pop for that. Stephanie stopped her from doing it. The crowd was not happy. Roxanne and Raquel got involved. Now, I thought whenever Roxanne and Raquel come out, all right, as I predicted in my video, I said, right, I think that something's going to happen where Raquel will accidentally cost Liv the match, and that could lead to them feuding at Backlash or whatever. So whenever they showed up, I was like, oh shit, here we go. Roxanne distracts the referee. Raquel pulls Stephanie off the top rope and hangs her up on the rope. Liv hits her finisher, gets a 2 count. Then Stephanie gets back into the match. She knocks Roxanne off the apron. I think she kicked her in the head, and I was like, oh, Jesus, don't hit her in the fucking head after she's just come out of the concussion protocol. Liv goes to tackle Stephanie. Stephanie moves and she dives through the ropes and lands on Raquel. So that could lead to something. Stephanie then gets back on Liv. Then she goes to basically take out Stephanie and Raquel permanently. Liv uses this to gain the advantage, throws her into the steel steps, gets her back in the ring, hits her finisher, 1, 2, 3. Liv wins the title. I was surprised this. I'm happy to see Liv win the title. But I was surprised that they had her win. I was expecting, especially with Raquel and Roxanne there, I was expecting some shenanigans that cost Liv the match and build towards whatever they're eventually going to lead to with Liv and Raquel, because they're still having their bickering over Liv eliminating Raquel, the Royal Rumble. But it was a good match, but it was so fucking rushed, to try and get all that in, and the interference and all that, trying to get that in over 6 minutes as fucking bullshit. And well done to Liv and Stephanie for going out there and putting on a good match with that limited time. I'm hoping that if there's a rematch at Backlash or whatever, I hope they get fucking longer. I hope they get to tell a proper fucking story. So that was those matches. Then we had the main event. As I said, the build up to this main event match was embarrassing. A lot of people had the same thoughts as me, that they had lost their interest in who won this because of the involvement of TKO throwing Pat McAfee into the story where he wasn't needed, and then Jelly Roll. So this started off Pat McAfee getting his entrance first. He's acting like the total dick. He's flipping off the fans. He's telling people, fuck you and this here and blah blah blah. Orton comes out and takes forever to get to the fucking ring. This match went the longest. It went 22 minutes 44 seconds. Probably longer if you add in Orton's entrance, because he literally took, the way Undertaker walks through the ring, that was like Orton. He took fucking forever to get to the ring. Cody made his entrance I thought it was a very good entrance. There were like sort of mannequin cases on the stage showing uh, Cody's attire through the years from his debut with the green trunks and the CR. You had a voiceover of JR talking about uh, Cody Rhodes and his history to the business. Then you had the what would you call that gimmick? It was dashing Cody Rhodes, but it was the after he got his nose or his face broken and he had to wear the mask. So where he constantly put bags on people's heads and all. So there was that one. Then there was the Stardust gimmick, and then the final one was the American Nightmare where he had returned. So Cody makes his entrance. Mixed reaction. Randy obviously got a lot bigger pop. They're doing their entrances and their introductions by Alicia Taylor. Pat McAfee tries to do the fucking Paul Heyman thing where he takes the microphone from Alicia and is like, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna do this, and he introduced nobody wanted him here. I mean, the part I loved the most was whenever Pat McAfee's music first hit, there was a loud thing from the crowd is, oh, fuck off. And I just love that because that just pretty much summed up what everyone fucking thought of this. So he got loud boos when he was talking. They tried to give him like the Dom, boos of not letting him talk. But this was different because they did not want to hear him fucking talk. So he made Randy's introduction. Alicia made Cody's introduction, and then the referee holds up the title, but before he gets to ring the bell, Pat McAfee runs over and hits Cody with the microphone. They start attacking Cody, and I was just like, I couldn't be fucking bothered. I swear to God, I had it on in the background. I was playing a video game. I wasn't even paying attention to it because it didn't deserve my full attention. There was a spot where Cody put McAfee on the announce table. Jelly Roll was at ringside. He hopped up on the table and then dropped an elbow through McAfee, and then shouted at Cody, go and give these people the match that they wanted. Could you not have fucking said that a few weeks ago when all this shit started and got rid of McAfee then and said go and give people the freaking build up and the story that they wanted? But anyway, McAfee got wheeled out on a stretcher. He's giving people the flip off. I wish that was the only fucking time I've seen him. This match went back and forth. We had a spot where Cody started imitating Randy, doing the thumps on the ring, like he was going to hit Orton with the RKO. Orton countered. He eventually did hit an RKO on Randy. Randy kicked out. Orton got a thumb in the eye, so he was a little blinded. He ended up hitting an RKO on referee Charles Robinson. who was checking on him. Uh, what else happened? I can't remember if he dropped Cody with an RKO or he hit Cody with his finisher Crossroads. But obviously referee's out, and I just fucking knew. I knew what was going to happen. As soon as the referee got taken out, I fucking knew it was going to happen. But Randy goes for the cover, and fucking Pat McAfee, wearing a referee's shirt and a fucking neck brace, comes running down, and he's like, comes running down, and the crowd's excitement just dropped. There was just a loud sigh of just like, oh fuck no. Even if Randy had won there and then, they probably would have been freaking, yay, great, but fucking he's here again. But he comes in the ring, and even though he's supposed to be trying to help Randy, he does the slowest fucking count ever. Cody kicks out, and then Orton is just staring angrily at Cody, then looking at McAfee. McAfee then starts, trying to motivate Randy, hitting him and saying, get on him, finish this. And then out of nowhere, usually, Orton hits an RKO on Pat McAfee, which got a massive pop. I don't know what the point of that was, if Orton is supposed to be working with Pat McAfee, and Orton even said on SmackDown that, sorry, throat keeps getting dry, that he doesn't need Pat McAfee, but he wants Pat McAfee to be there in his corner. So I don't see any reason why he would drop Pat McAfee with an RKO when he's trying to win the match, and he's there obviously in his referee outfit. But that is the moment that Cody takes advantage. He hits his finisher on Orton. Referee Charles comes to 1, 2, 3. Cody retains the title to a mixed reception. I don't know whether the fans were more happy with the fact that Cody winning meant that Pat McAfee was apparently supposed to be gone from the company permanently. Where there again? Back. Sorry, I'm thinking this went off harp. But yeah, Cody retains. He's celebrating with the title. Next minute, Orton grabs the title off Cody, hits him with it, and then punts him in the head. Apparently, he caught him a little too hard or a little too high in the thing, because he was immediately he was in the corner. He was like looking at Cody, and then he sort of tried to find a reason to go over and go and check on Cody. So he was like sort of kneeling by Cody, like he was trying to, say something, bad to him, but he was actually, checking him because he had his hand on his head, and he was checking. So the after pictures showed that Cody's eye had completely closed or whatever, and they said that he had a retinal injury or something of the thing. So so that was night one in the books. As I said, overall it was a very poor night. The length of time for the women's matches, including the Liv Stephanie match, was absolutely fucking disgrace. Less ad breaks and more match time, would have been alright. So that was night one. Night 2 absolutely knocked it out of the park. I mean, obviously because of Night 1, it couldn't have been any fucking worse, but it was so much better. The excitement from the crowd, the atmosphere throughout the night, the matches. I'm assuming, yep, the matches on Night 2 went longer. So I don't know what the hell they were rushing for on Night 1. Did they have a fucking, I don't know. It's like, Joe, where you go to a restaurant and you have to be out by a certain time, or because they have to turn the table over for the next people coming in. It was like that for Night 1. It was like, we have the stadium rented, but you have to be out by a certain time because we've got something else planned here straight after. So can you get these matches over quickly and get out? But Night 2, we kicked off with Oba versus Brock Lesnar. Oba is super fucking over. He is super over. Whenever he first came up to the main roster and he started doing that strut entrance, I didn't know if it was going to catch on. But holy shit. To see like 50,000 people when he made his entrance, 50,000 people like all in sync doing the Oba strut and, shouting his name. He is super fucking over. As I think I said this in my preview video, and I'll say it again now. I would not expect him to be without a world title soon. That is coming. There's no way he is going to be hanging around with no title. I can see him going the same route as Brock did in 2002, where he came up, was absolutely dominating, won the King of the Ring, and then beat The Rock at SummerSlam. I would not be surprised if this is the same route for him, where he, I don't know maybe about King of the Ring, but I wouldn't be surprised if he wins a world title at SummerSlam as early as that. So, this match went 4 minutes 46 seconds. I'm 50-50 on the time for that match, because for a clash between Brock and Oba, two guys that size, you're not expecting it to be a long match. But at the same time, I would have maybe give it 10 minutes at the most, 10 minutes, to do a few more spots or, a few more things. But overall, the job was to give Oba his big Mania debut and a great victory over Brock, and that's what we got. They went at it from the bell. They were locking up, push in the corner, the test of strength, thing. Brock pushes Oba up in the corner. Oba, throws Brock backwards. Brock's hitting the ropes trying to knock Oba down with a clothesline, and it's just basically he's bouncing off Oba. Oba then basically just drops Lesnar with one, clothesline. Brock's outside the ring doing his usual, temper thing where he's, kicking the steps and lifting the steps up like he's going to, hit somebody with him. Paul Heyman's like trying to calm him down and all. Brock's distracted trying to listen to Paul Heyman. Oba grabs him by the hair and the head and drags him back into the ring. I'll say I like how this match went. It wasn't, it wasn't a match where Brock didn't get any offense at all. He hit Oba with several suplexes. You know, Paul Heyman was building it up. He hit Oba with one suplex. Paul was like, one! Hit him with the second one, two! He tried to hit I don't know if he hit, I think he might have hit a third one, and Paul's like, three! And then he goes to hit a fourth, and Oba basically just breaks out of it. Knocks Lesnar back into the corner. He is doing a run from one corner to the other to hit Lesnar. Goes for second thing. Lesnar gets him up on the shoulders, hits an F5. Oba takes the F5, but is immediately, he doesn't bounce right up like he no-sold it, but he takes it and is already stirring, and he's like sort of slowly getting back up, and Paul Heyman's trying to get Brock's attention thing. Brock turns around, Oba grabs him by the throat, choke slam, then sets him up for his fall from grace. 1, 2, 3. Oba wins. I would like to go a bit longer, but it was a great match. Oba gets a clean win. Doesn't need to overdo it. Doesn't need to hit multiple finishers to keep Brock down. One move, 1, 2, 3, boom. Oba wins. Crowd go nuts. And then we get the shock. Oba gets out of the ring. He gives a sort of nod salute to Brock. Brock's like sort of sitting up, and he's like looking a bit dazed, but he's looking at Oba. Oba gives him like the thing, walks up, and then Brock's is sitting there in the ring, and he's like looking up at the thing and all. He's like looking around him. He's gassed. His face is red. And he starts taking off his gloves, and normally that doesn't mean anything, because usually during his matches or at the match, Lesnar takes off his gloves, job done or match over thing. So he takes off his gloves, sets them down. Then he starts unlacing his boots, and the crowd immediately clicks what's about to happen, and there's just a loud groan. Then Brock stops. He starts getting emotional. It wasn't he wasn't crying, but it was one of those where he's like laughing, but at the same time it's like emotional laugh where he's like happy and emotional at the same time. He starts taking off his boots. The fans are chanting no, no, but then it slowly changes to thank you, Brock. He leaves his boots and his gloves in the middle of the ring, and Paul Heyman, I would venture to guess that Paul Heyman did not know this was going to happen, because he looked pure white, like he had seen a ghost. Like he was in the ring, he was bawling. So I don't know if he knew this was going to happen and the emotion just got to him, or he was just shocked that Brock was retiring. But he was emotional. Brock got out of the ring. He was, shaking hands with the fans. Paul was walking behind him, still crying. Crowd gave another thank you, Brock. He stopped, and touched hard, waved the hand, said thank you. So seemingly Brock has retired because he's left his boots in the ring and his gloves. There was a lot of speculation and rumor that he was going to have a few more matches and potentially have a final match with Gunther, because Gunther has been on this run of, beating people in their final match and, things. So I don't know whether they decided to change it or Brock decided to say, look, I'm done now and I'm going to go out by putting over Oba, because Oba he's the next guy. He is the new star. I'm going to put him over at Mania. He deserves it. I don't know. I've seen a few people say this, and I do agree. WrestleMania next year is in Saudi Arabia. I would be shocked if they didn't try to throw as much money as possible to try and get Brock to be there in some capacity for a match or something. So I don't know if Brock is fully the doors closed, I'm done, or if it's like The Undertaker, where, he left his jacket, his hat, and his gloves in the ring at Mania, and then, disappeared, and then he returned. Didn't he return against John Cena for a squash match at Mania, and then he also had his final match against AJ Styles in the cinematic, Boneyard match. So it's up to Brock. Brock could say, you know what, no, I'm done. I went out there at WrestleMania, I put over Oba, I'm done, this is how I'm going to go. Or, a few months or a year from now, he could say, sorry, how much are you offering me for this? And he could show up again. So, we'll see. But, as I said, great match. Could have went a bit longer. Was 4 minutes 46 seconds. You could have maybe got that up to 8-9 minutes. A few more spots. But overall, they did the job of getting Oba over. And fuck me if he is not over when you got 50 bloody people chanting his name and, doing the Oba strut and everything. So, next match was the ladder match. This one went 15 minutes, 8 seconds. Again, 15 minutes for a ladder match. You could have maybe let it go a bit longer. But overall, this was a good match. It was a match for people to get on the card and do some great spots. JD McDonough doing most of them. That guy, as I said, I am waiting for him to get a singles run at some point. I hope so. He hit a great Spanish fly off the ladder. He took a Mexican Destroyer on to the ladder. We got a few spots with Rey Mysterio. Fair play for his fucking age. He's able to do them spots. He leaped from in the ring over, I think it was Penta, where he leaped up over Penta and landed on Rusev on the outside through a ladder. The ladder broke, but even the ladder bounced back and hit Ray in the bloody head. So fair play to him for even competing after that. Javon Evans got a good spot where he leaped from the top rope to catch Rusev, who was on the ladder, and drop him with his move. And as I predicted, Penta retained the title. Very good match. A good moment for Penta to retain the title and get the victory at Mania. We'll see what plans are for him going forward. I think this was a good match for people to, just go out and put on a good performance. And everyone did that. Rusev, Mysterio, Dragon Lee. The only negative I would say about this match is, again, the fucking ad breaks. Because we were in an ad break between after the Lesnar Oba match, and by the time we come back, half of the participants in the ladder match were already in the ring, so they didn't even get a Mania entrance because of a fucking ad breaks. Apparently they were even showing ads in the stadium on the screen, so I don't know if they just had, I think it was Rusev, JD and Dragon Lee who were already in the ring waiting whenever the others come out, Rey Mysterio, Penta and Javon. But again, the fucking ad breaks that you can't even give, three guys their entrance at WrestleMania, because you're showing bloody ads. So, I don't know. Pisses me off with fucking ad breaks. Next match was Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn. He had Lil Yachty doing his entrance and, pumping up the crowd. Sami Zayn came out to a mixed reaction. There was talk of possibly doing a double turn in this match, of turning Sami heel and Trick babyface, because obviously they're booing Sami already, and Trick is over with the crowd. And it definitely felt like it in this match because Sami was more, vicious than usual. He was, ignoring the referee and, attacking Trick in the corner. He attacked Little Yachty, threw him into the security barrier. He tried to, hit a move on Trick Williams while the referee was checking on him. Little Yachty came back and he didn't distract. Well, he got up on the apron. Similar to what Raquel did with Stephanie the night before. He got up and hung Sammy's neck on the top rope for him to bounce back into a move by Trick Williams. They got 2 count. I thought that would have been the spot they ended. Sorry. Bloody throat today. Sami got back into the match, and as he went to hit his finisher, the haluva kick, Trick sprung out of the corner and hit him with his finisher, and 1, 2, 3, new champion. Trick was over celebrating with his parents. Sami looked dejected on the outside. The crowd's going nuts for Trick. This was a good match. Good moment for Trick Williams. This match went 7 minutes, 7 seconds. Again, could have been longer. I would have liked, as I said, at this point, that Carmelo Hayes missed out on Mania. I think he could have been in this match, and you still could have had, Trick be the winner, or you could have had Trick beating Carmelo for the match, given their history, but we'll see how it goes from there. Next up was the Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio in a street fight. This has been changed to a street fight on the pre-show. Uh, some good entrances for the match. Dom, who has labelled himself the King of Luchadors, came out on a giant throne, being escorted by a group of people in luchador masks. Obviously, Finn came out in his demon persona. With, the smoke and a lot of streamers falling from the sky. Crowd was super into it. This was a good match. Honestly, it had similar spots to the unsanctioned match the night before, and it ended the same way with Dom getting placed on the table and Finn hitting his finisher on Dom through the table to get the pin. So the fact that this match was a street fight and it was basically similar to the unsanctioned match, it really made the unsanctioned match look more tamer. But it was a good win for Finn. This match went 10 minutes, 27 seconds. That's right. I think most of the matches should have gone about at least 10 minutes, to give them room to breathe. So this is a good match. And we'll see what happens going forward, if Finn is going to keep the demon persona or if this was just a one-off at Mania. Next up was Rhea versus Jade Cargill. Now this one went 10 minutes, 8 seconds. That's fine. The fact that the least went 10 minutes. I don't know why the other, I don't know why Liv and Stephanie couldn't have got 10 minutes at least. This was a very good match. I said in my preview that the build up to this match wasn't great, and it wasn't. The promos were bad. The physicality was more focused on, Jade attacking Io and Rhea having to deal with Michin and B-Fab. So this was a good match. It's what I expected. They went out and they went at it, hit each other move for move. Towards the end, we got a interference from Michin and B-Fab, which then drew out Io. She took them out, which again left Rhea to deal with Jade. There was a back and forth on them trying to hit their finishers. Rhea eventually got the counter, hit Jade with her finisher. 1, 2, 3. Rhea's the new champion. And I think it was the right decision. I think it's better for Rhea to be the champion and move to SmackDown, because SmackDown Women's Division needs some fresh talent. And I think it'd be great for Rhea to be on SmackDown now, where she can feud with the likes of Jordan Grace and Tiffany and Jade and others. Also, sorry, I almost forgot about night one. Another reason why it's probably good for Jade to be on SmackDown now is we got the return of Bianca Belair. She came out when John Cena was in the ring, pumping up the crowd for the main event. She came out and said, that what was WrestleMania without the EST, and she told the fans that she missed him. And then she revealed why she has. Obviously, she had the finger surgery that's kept her out. Now she has another reason to keep her out. She is pregnant. So, congratulations to Bianca and Montez Ford. We got a little street profit on the way. Congrats. So, I'll say another good reason for Rhea to be on SmackDown now is that Bianca's going to be out for the next several months or so. And I don't know if Naomi. Has Naomi had her baby? I don't know if she's had. There was something about Rikishi had announced that she had her baby or something, but we haven't had any official thing from Jimmy or Naomi. I don't think so. But anyway, so Bianca's pregnant, so that's another SmackDown spot that's missing from the women's roster. So I think it's the right thing for Rhea to win the title here. So have her on SmackDown now. And this led to the main event for night 2, and this match went 33 minutes 56 seconds, and every single fucking second lived up to it. Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. Roman got his old Tribal Chief music back, so are we looking at a possible heel turn at some point from Roman? This was a good moment. And then Punk came out. He had a fignet of him sort of like sitting on top of the stadium, and then he was walking out. He had a jacket with Larry, his dog that had passed away, logo of him. He had names written on his jacket of people close to him or associated with WWE who had passed recently, and a symbol on the back of the jacket as a tribute to Harley Race. This was a good match. Sorry, let me change that. This was a fucking good match. Back and forth. They're battling in the ring, battling outside the ring, battling in the crowd. Thankfully, the ref let them go at it, even though there was no stipulation of no DQ or anything. Roman had Punk hung up on the upside down on the ropes. He was constantly hitting him with Superman punches. Even though he couldn't defend himself, the referee didn't get involved. He lifted the steel steps, hit him with them, busted him open. Referee didn't get involved, so he let it go. He did the solo shield powerbomb through the table. Punk got back into the match. He was mocking Roman. He grabbed a replica Ulafala necklace from the crowd and came in the ring, wearing it, and he was mocking Roman with the pose, for the spear. Roman caught him in a guillotine. Punk reversed it into the Anaconda face. Again, it was a great match. It just went back and forth, back and forth. Punk, his head busted open, everything. He was trading blows with Roman, trading chops. He tried to go for a headbutt, and fucking obviously because try to think about Samoans heads, never tried to headbutt a Samoan thing, but he headbutt Roman, and he's like, oh fuck. They're again back and forth. They hit moves. There were times where they were both laid out. I had a terrible fucking thought in the back of my head because Punk had some back and forth with McAfee over the weeks, and McAfee had said that, Roman's going to win on Sunday night, and Roman even said in a interview, I like Pat McAfee and all this here. I had a terrible fucking thought that McAfee was going to show up to help Roman, and every time that they were both laid out, I was oh God, please don't let him fucking just show up to get involved in this. But thankfully he didn't. They kept going at it. Punk got Roman up for the go to sleep, but collapsed under exhaustion. We got to a point then where it was a bit like Shawn Michaels Undertaker, where they're just staring at each other, and Shawn Michaels like looks at the Undertaker and then just says, do what you gotta do, and like hit him. And this was a bit similar here. They were staring at each other, they were exhausted. Punk was saying something to Roman, and then he went to swing to hit him, but he missed and just fell to the floor. Roman dropped him with a spear. Punk sort of got to his feet. Roman charged up for a bigger spear, hit him. 1, 2, 3. Roman's the new champion. Awesome match. Awesome. Absolutely. As I said, comparing that to night one with Orton and Cody and the whole freaking celebrity bullshit, night and day. Absolutely awesome fucking match. And say nothing happened afterwards. There was no appearance or there was nobody interfered to attack Roman. It just ended perfectly for night 2. Roman, put the the replica Ulafala on. He was holding the championship. Pyro and fireworks going off. He left the ring, and the fucking screen. I don't know if it happened for everyone. The screen to me went to a fucking ad break at the very end. It's saying, and this one didn't show anything. It was just an ad break and saying, we'll be right back. I was wondering, like, what the hell else is there left? Is there going to be something else? Is Punk going to fucking announce his retirement? But it showed the advert and then ended the Netflix stream. So I guess they had to get one more fucking ad break, in there before they could end the event. But overall, without a doubt, night 2 absolutely killed it. Night 1, like I said, it had its moments. Paige's return, Liv win the title, but overall it was a fucking shambles. The match length times were embarrassing. For Liv, I said that pisses me off. As I said in my preview, like, I thought Liv Morgan and Stephanie Fakir should have been the main event at night 1, and for them to go out there after all the build up over the weeks and only get about 6 minutes to battle for the title and try to rush and squeeze all the spots in, just because you're too fucking busy showing ad break after ad break and plugging damn Hulk Hogan documentary on Netflix. Oh, I don't know. It is the way it is now, TKO and whoever, they don't give a shit as long as they're making their money. They're going to plaster the ring and the turnbuckles now with sponsors, and the friggin' announce tables are covered in sponsors. The the furniture, the tables that they use in matches, they're covered in sponsors of Slim Jim. They even have some of the wrestlers wearing sponsored outfits. I think at some point, I can't remember when it was, but there was a Raw episode where Dom was wearing a shirt with a Dude Wipe sponsor on it. It's just fucking hell. It's between that and then you're charging an absolute fortune for tickets. It's just embarrassing. And next year it's in Saudi Arabia. Apparently, we don't know, because conflicts in the fucking world now, you never know what's going to happen next. So will it be in Saudi? Definitely. Or I wouldn't be fucking shocked if they said, you know what, third time's a charm, we're going to go back to Las Vegas for a third time in a row. But I feel sorry for New Orleans, because they were supposed to have host WrestleMania this year, and it probably would have been awesome in New Orleans. And they missed out because fucking TKO wanted to squeeze more money out of Las Vegas. But anyway, that is my review of WrestleMania 42. I didn't expect it to go that long thing, so at least I went fucking longer than most of the matches on this card. But anyway, night 1, shit. Night 2, brilliant. Now we will see what happens next. The Raw after Mania. Usually you get a few call-ups from fresh faces on the main roster. So we'll see if any people show up. There was a brief sort of thing on the post show where Femi, alluded to, setting his sights on Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns, responded, so maybe we might get a showdown between them at some point. Apparently Roman has stated that he is going to be competing full time throughout the summer, so we'll see what goes there. Is he going to be the one now? Does he put over Femi and have him take the title from him at SummerSlam? I think that'll be a hell of a match, Femi Roman Reigns. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this long review. Let me know in the comments if you watched WrestleMania, what your thoughts are on the event, what your thoughts were on the matches. And if you're watching in like the UK and Ireland and thing and all, tell me, are you excited for the Hulk Hogan documentary? Because it got plugged about fucking, I don't know how many bloody times throughout the 2 nights. Let me know your thoughts on this. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be very much appreciated. I don't think, unless anything serious happens, I don't think I'll be doing a video on about what happens on Raw after Mania, unless anything, like I said, anything serious happens, like fucking, a major title change happens, or a major return, or something happens. But if you want, follow my thing on Twitter, links on the channel. I'm always live tweeting there from the event, I wish, about the event. But anyway, hope it's going to be a good Raw, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, take care. I'll see you again.